Hi guys, or welcome back. This is Snooker 19 and you are joining us in the final of the 6 Red World Championship, and lo and behold, we're up against number 1 ranked Ronnie O'Sullivan, a chap we've already beaten in this game, in fact in this tournament. And I'm sure he's looking for revenge. And not being funny, if you look at his face in this opening segment where we shake hands, you can see he's looking me up and down and he doesn't look all that happy to see me. Yes, he definitely wants revenge here. But then, what he hasn't encountered for, or what he hasn't planned for, is that we are on a bit of form at the moment, and we've been playing incredibly well. This is our first championship final. Okay, it's not one of the big ones, but it is our first ever championship final, and we're pretty good at 6 red. So we opened on the first frame. Again, I'm having to commentate because the microphone and game audio were lost in this video, and I do apologize, but this is one hell of a match. You're going to love this, even though you're not going to see it all. So Ronnie O'Sullivan wasn't left with a huge amount to play with there. He went for a safety shot. It was a bit loose, and in the end, he left a shot on for us. There were a couple of options, but having weighed up the scenario by using the rather janky walk-around table mechanic that Snooker 19 has, I tell you what, if they just gave you free form so you could just walk around the arena and look at the table at your leisure, that would be the best feature ever. It would be absolutely brilliant. Regardless, that's not the case, and this shot here needed to sneak the ball in and come out without getting all wrapped up in the other reds. It was important that I missed that top red and somehow found a way through past the black as well. Wasn't the cleanest shot in the world, but the red went in and everything worked out perfectly fine. Had the red not have gone in, we would probably have been in a bit of a situation there. But as it is, we were able to clear the entire table and walk away with a break of 63. First game in our favour. It went incredibly well. The confidence was really brimming. Every shot I played just seemed to work. Lady Luck was definitely with us whenever we needed it, and when she wasn't, we were able to use our skill in order to overcome the issues. Ronnie to break then for the second frame. It wasn't the best, getting an unfortunate kick on the brown there and leaving 1 red on. Now, I don't need to be invited to take that shot on. We pretty much get to play it every time the AI break, and it's one that we know and love very well. It was a relatively good connection. We took the red, but unfortunately I had too much power on the shot and we did not hold for the black, which put me in a bit of a difficult situation thereafter. Now, as I say, we were in a bit of form, a bit of good play, and I was feeling confident, and what the obvious shot to me seemed to be was maximum topspin, lots of power, sink the blue and bounce back up for this red in the middle. Now, to do this, we had to pass the blue ball spot, which we didn't do. But fortunately, we covered it enough so that the blue ball had to go and sit on the black. Now, this was no easy shot into the middle pocket, and certainly position of the cue ball would have been important afterwards. And I think we played that exceptionally well. You won't believe me if I told you, but I talked extensively about just kissing the black to get it off the cushion. And that was one hell of a shot, I can assure you. This one, on the other hand, was a bit more tricky. I decided not to play the black, instead going for the red, going for the blue and trying to open the pack. But that one red that was loose there, I was concerned about blocking the rest, and that is exactly what happened. So we didn't really have a particularly good angle or position on this red, but if I could just sneak it into that pocket and hold, I could figure out the rest later. That didn't happen, but we were lucky enough, as again, Lady Luck was definitely on our side, that we basically covered everything, and Ronnie had no choice but to smack it and hope for the best, which is not a very Ronnie O'Sullivan thing, although I have seen him do that in the past. Unfortunately for him, that didn't really work out particularly well, and we had probably, this was the only decent red on, but from this position, I felt absolutely confident we could kiss that red into the pocket and leave ourselves beautifully on the black, and that's exactly what we did here. Again, extensive chat about just kissing this red and getting it off the cushion, trying to work out how much power would be needed to A, put the black into the pocket, but also kiss that red a little bit. I may have overdone it ever so slightly, but yeah, it worked out rather well. Proceeded to pot another a bunch of balls, basically getting to a break of 29. Had this awkward green to play. Didn't really get a good connection on it. I think the janky speed monitor thing caused that issue. But fortunately for us, Ronnie O'Sullivan wasn't interested in wasting his time, and he conceded the frame, giving us a 2-0 lead. And maybe a little too much confidence at this stage of the game, who knows. But we pushed into the third and probably most important frame of all. We were to break, and this has got to be the best break I think we've had all tournament. It literally left Ronnie with nothing to shoot at all. It was a complete snooker, and right from the get-go, he was on the back foot here. Ronnie O'Sullivan, not a slouchy player, played a beautiful counter to my snooker. Didn't exactly leave me anything particularly easy to play. There was this red to the middle, which obviously without any other alternative we took and sunk, which was very nice. And then we're in a position here. You can see the reds are really quite nicely opened up, and we had a great opportunity to really take the lead here. A 3-0 lead in a game where you need to win 5 to take it, because it's the final, obviously. And a nice red. And if you just see how I held for this red here, again, it was talked about extensively. I really did have the cue ball under great control. Every now and then it got away from me, but it wasn't so bad that I couldn't do something about it and sort of overcome the problem. So maximum power, almost 81%. Thankfully, I did spot that. It wasn't intentional. I had accidentally put 81% power on that shot, and I resurrected it just in time. And I actually fell a little bit short on that shot, I think. The idea was to be the other side of the blue, but it wasn't too bad because I was able to hold for it. For a while, I did contemplate putting a lot of spin on the ball. In fact, I think, if I remember correctly, playing this shot here, I did put spin on the ball and just pulled it back enough so that the angle was there for this red down into the bottom left or the top right-hand corner. Which it was, thankfully. I mean, this is a very, very tight shot. There's definitely the chance of glancing against the blue here and giving away 5. It's not the first time that's happened to me, so I was cautious of it, but confident. And it was a good shot, and away we were. That was it. We're in a really strong commanding position now. Certainly, we had 2 reds on the cushion pocket here that needed to be dealt with. So you can see me just lining up a shot here. Intended to pot the black, spin back, and just kiss one of them out so that we had the opportunity to go for the pot. Now, that didn't work out quite as well as I'd hoped. The black obviously covering the shot that would have been potentially available there, but at this angle, it really wasn't. So we had to resort to sensible, tactical snooker play, and I think that's a pretty good one. It could have sat behind the green. That would have been an awful lot better for us, but certainly from that position, not even the master, Ronnie O'Sullivan, could possibly get a pot in. So he also went for a safety snooker, and it was a good effort. It wasn't perfect, but pretty much how I left him, he left me with very little. Obviously, there's a shot to nothing here, but in order to be safe, it was important to put enough spin on the ball that it didn't collide with that second red at the very bottom there. Very tricky shot. I had to think about it for quite a while. Really sort of analyse how well this was going to work. And unfortunately the red didn't go in, but it was yet another decent technical safety. And although there is a shot on technically, it is certainly not an easy one. Now, Ronnie O'Sullivan played this safety shot, which really impressed me, especially when you see where the cue ball ends up. I was incredibly impressed. I complimented him on his skill and his ability, and then decided I was going to recreate the exact same shot. Unfortunately, I didn't know how much power to put on, and I overdid it ever so slightly, leaving the cue ball a little bit further out. And it certainly wasn't as impressive as Ronnie O'Sullivan's shot was, but it was safe. And he was forced to play yet another safety himself. except it's Ronnie O'Sullivan. So what an absolutely mind-boggling shot that was. I commented on how that was probably going to be shot of the tournament. And Ronnie O'Sullivan in a really good, strong position here now. The only ball really causing any problems at all would be the red by the pink. And lo and behold, it was the red by the pink that eventually led him to play this shot. Yet another safety attempt, and it has to be said, it was a pretty darn good one. Completely snookered me, forced me into a position where I had to just try and play this off the cushion. I mean, it's not the most technically difficult snooker in the world, but in this game, it's a little bit more tricky than it is in real life, believe it or not. And we went for it. Eventually. And missed. So, yes, unfortunately, we did miss that shot. Left Ronnie O'Sullivan with a potable ball there. Missed everything. And Ronnie O'Sullivan, does he miss? No. He goes for yet another snooker. Starting to feel like he was intending to punish us for having beaten him earlier in the tournament. Fortunately, we did have a line of sight on the ball, and not being one to be greedy, I thought we could return the snooker favour. And that's exactly what I went for. A nice snooker just behind the black. It was not an easy shot to play. Had to be weighted perfectly. And I think we did a darned good job. It's not the most technically difficult snooker to get out of. In fact, if I remember rightly, I think he had line of sight of just the edge there. And he was able to play it quite cleanly after all. Yes, he was indeed. So there's the red ball there, sitting over the pocket, eagerly being awaiting a little pot in, but no, lo and behold, he has snookered us this time, which is a bit awkward. Now, if you like good shots, if you like super duper shots, then you're going to absolutely love this one. I spoke about this for quite some time. I saw an angle, I saw an opportunity, heavy left hand spin, a minor banana shot. I knew it was going to hit the ball. I wasn't sure if it was going to be as good as this, but oh my word, look at my face. I did spend some time talking about that shot, and I was desperately trying to get a safety on, which technically we wouldn't have done if the red hadn't have gone. But what a shot that was. I was most happy with myself. That elation, however, didn't last for too long. We had a break of 5 when I left myself very short on this yellow, something I tend to do very much. If only this game had a practice table that we could sort of practice some of these shots with, we'd be fine. The snooker attempt did not work out at all well. I'm not very happy with it if you look at my face. And yeah, Ronnie O'Sullivan is not going to miss that shot. And he didn't. And he proceeded to clear the table, bringing the game to 2-1. And starting to spice things up just a little bit. So in the lead at 2-1, it's the 4th frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break. He left me open with a nice red. I mean, we've been in this situation many times before. Not wanting to repeat my mistake of earlier, I made absolutely certain that we hit this ball full on and had just enough power to come over to the black. Now, I've had some mixed results here playing this shot because obviously the red grouping is still quite tight. But yeah, we potted the black and then left ourselves rather short of the next shot and had to go for a safety, which, thanks to the yellow, we just about pulled off. It certainly wasn't an easy snooker, but Ronnie O'Sullivan, having already played a very similar shot to this, was capable of hitting the reds immediately and rendering that snooker as null and void. So we had an opportunity. The game was back in our favour, and nice little shot into the middle pocket here with conscious positioning for the cue ball, trying to hold for the black. I realised at this point in time that we had an opportunity to get a maximum break. That's red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, and then all the colours. Alas, that wasn't to be the case. A few shots went a bit awry, and we ended up having to play this brown into the middle pocket, which we did get, but then obviously there's a tricky red on the cushion to deal with. We're still in a position to get a very decent score. We got a break of 20 at the moment. So ignore what I just said about maximum break. That must have been on another frame. I do apologise. I'm getting my frames confused here. But yeah, some decent snooker. Certainly positional play was okay. That obviously wasn't quite so good. But we somehow managed to find an option there to play it into the middle pocket. Not an easy shot at all. And we somehow just got it in there. What a shot that was. Another contender for shot of the tournament, but probably nothing's going to beat that shot that I played earlier. The blue was loose. It didn't go in, but it didn't matter because we were so far ahead. Ronnie O'Sullivan, not one to waste his own time or other people's, conceded the frame, giving us a 3-1 lead and restoring my confidence in my ability. So, frame number 5 then. Remember, 5 frames to win, so we're 2 away from victory here. And it was my turn to break. We're not too bad at breaking. We've had some good, some bad, and some indifferent. The best break we had was 2 frames ago, as you saw. And this one was a good contender, but it ended up just the wrong side of the green there. Could have been the most spectacular break that we've ever had, but it certainly was safe. No real issue whatsoever. Ronnie O'Sullivan playing this shot, leaving a rather loose red out on the right hand side there, which I don't need to be invited to take on. So I lined it up. Pretty simple shot. We've been here many times before. And that job is a good one. So away we went. Potting at Glee with a break of 17. A lovely pink here. Probably one of my favourite shots I've played. With an intentional, well-discussed knock onto the red to make sure that we had the position to then continue playing on and play in for the black. So each time I play, I try and expand and get better control of the cue ball and understand where the ball's going to be and what it's going to do when it gets there. That, again, was not a bad shot, leaving a bit of a tricky black to play, but confidence was absolutely sky high. Quite happy to play round the table and come back for position, but unfortunately, it's not quite how it worked out. And Lady Luck had decided to desert us. Perhaps I was being too bolshy and overconfident about our potting capabilities. Ronnie O'Sullivan playing a lovely shot down into the right corner there and getting himself onto the black. He's not really one to miss these kind of shots. A lovely little nick on the red there, but unfortunately it didn't travel too far. And he found himself in this position, having snookered himself once again. He got himself out the snooker as he often does, and obviously the shot that we've got here is not exactly one that you would confidently say we could pot. So it seemed like a good idea to once again try and put him into a snooker. Not the best attempt at a snooker, but we got a bit lucky. The pink coming to our aid at just the right time. And this is certainly not an easy snooker to get out of. But Ronnie O'Sullivan is not your average snooker player, and that was no problem for him whatsoever. However, he did leave it in a potable position, and once again the game was in our hands. Really no issue here. Enough power to get it in, enough angle, but oh my word, what is going on? That's twice in the same game. Can you Adam and Eve it? Lady Luck has definitely had enough of us. And perhaps, if we're really unlucky, she'll find herself a new champion in Ronnie O'Sullivan, who promptly pots that yellow, leaving himself a good angle on the green, clears the table, and takes that frame as well, making it 3-2 and keeping the game most interesting. What a great final this was, and I'm so sad and sorry that you couldn't get to experience the full thing because of the audio issues encountered by my recording software. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break. It's another one of those loose ones with balls going all over the place, and we got a bit lucky there because if that brown hadn't moved, we would have been completely snookered. As it is, we've got this red. It's a classic shot. We've been here before. Nice and gently onto the black. Now, as I've explained and as I've shown you, I've had a few issues around playing this shot, and on this instance I tried something different. Top right hand spin puts the white in. That's all you need to remember on that shot. So we'll never play that again, but yeah, that put Ronnie O'Sullivan back in control of the game. But interestingly, he gave us the option to play on with ball in hand. So we did. We found this loose red here, and I was fairly confident we could get this in. Not sure what I was going to do with the pack thereafter, but if we could get this one in, then at least we had control of the game, and the option to win was ours. And it was a good pot. I was most happy with it. A little bit confused about what I was going to do hereafter. Now, for a while, I did contemplate and consider the very sensible idea of playing a snooker. But instead, I went for a harsh brown, hoping to come back and kiss the pack with the cue ball. That didn't happen. I knew I'd be on a red. I was just hoping that we might be on for a pot. Unfortunately, that red doesn't go into that pocket, so we were left with the only option, which is quite often the case for us, of playing a safety shot. So medium power, a nice little gentle kiss on this red, and we should be absolutely fine. And fine we were. There was a very good safety shot there. Really and truly, there is no way Ronnie O'Sullivan could get a pot from that position. So that, in essence, is a perfect safety shot. Ronnie O'Sullivan's safety shot, on the other hand, was a little bit less impressive. The shot was on. It was definitely tricky and a gamble. And that gamble did not pay off. Lady Luck certainly not with us. So that decision there was one that I blasphemed and complained about quite considerably. Ronnie O'Sullivan, interestingly, trying to play a snooker on us instead of taking control of the ball. And one thing you may notice is that we've yet again had this issue where the camera has now disappeared. For some reason, on this day, our recording software didn't want to play ball in any way, shape or form. So the video camera is now gone for the rest of the match. And there were a few shots, I think, that we lost a little while back there that maybe could have shed some better light. But don't worry, because we've got some cracking shots coming up. And there's just one of the average ones from Ronnie O'Sullivan there, regaining control of this table. We're 3-2 at the moment. Ronnie O'Sullivan is potting very well and got himself into this position here. He's got himself a break of 24. He has the lead. He's going for the blue, and the blue has gone in, but he's left himself snookered behind this pink. Something the AI do far too often. Now, sure, he played himself out of that snooker, and it was rather fortunate, I'd say, that that black was in the way of that red going in. But yeah, I mean, I don't need to be asked twice. When there's an opportunity to play a snooker, I'm going to play a snooker. And it wasn't a bad effort. It could have been so much better. Just snuck round the outside there, meaning that Ronnie O'Sullivan could get, well, a good shot on it, but also a snooker on us. But this is Ronnie O'Sullivan, and that is possibly shot of the tournament. I mean, what a cracking shot that was. Totally unexpected. If you could see my face when that shot went in, you'd know the pain and anguish that snooker can bring. So Ronnie O'Sullivan cleared up, bringing the game to 3-3. Remember, it's 5 to win, so only 2 games required by either Ronnie Sullivan or myself, and it's my turn to break in frame number 7. Trying to keep consistent here, not doing anything new or different. Got rather lucky, the green ball covering that red down the bottom there. I think possibly I had changed the angle ever so slightly. So Ronnie O'Sullivan's rather uncontrolled safety shot there. He got quite lucky, I'd say, there. There was only really one option on, and it was this long red, and it certainly wasn't an easy shot. I went for it with safety in mind, and it didn't pay off. We didn't quite get the safety. The weight was right, the position was wrong, and that red ball just sat there. Ronnie O'Sullivan didn't need asking twice. He put that pot in immediately. He didn't exactly leave himself with an easy shot here on the black. which is something that happens quite often in this game. So instead he went for a green all round the table, brought himself back up into the reds. I'd say he was quite unlucky not to finish up a little bit better on that ball into the middle pocket there. So instead Ronnie O'Sullivan went for this shot, which was, I think, intended to be a kind of a safety. And yeah, well, it wasn't the worst safety in the world. Certainly I didn't have any easy pots on. And all I had to do in my mind was send this red back up the table and I would also be safe myself. Unfortunately, the cue ball didn't move as much as I expected it to, leaving Ronnie O'Sullivan with a rather easy shot into the bottom right hand corner pocket. He doesn't miss those very often. He played it safe, but he played it good, and he has regained control of the table. At 3-3, this was definitely an important frame for both of us. So Ronnie O'Sullivan was playing extremely well up until he played this nice long yellow, leaving himself a rather tricky shot on the green. Realising he couldn't really pot it, he went for a safety shot. And yeah, he's not bad at playing those. We do have line of sight of the green, but certainly this isn't the easiest shot in the world. And this is a game of snooker. I mean, we are 42 points behind. I should have just conceded the frame and said, go on, Ronnie, on you go. But it's the final. You don't really give up games unless you absolutely have to. And I felt if I could get a snooker or two out of Ronnie, then we could have an opportunity to play on. Fortunately, that was my snooker attempt. Rather appalling, even at the best way of explaining that was absolutely bloody awful. And Ronnie O'Sullivan just finished off the rest of the balls without any issue whatsoever, taking the lead for the first time in this final at 4-3. So here we are then in the eighth round, in the eighth match, in the eighth frame of the final. I am exhausted. I've been doing this for a while now. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break. Again, we've got the two right balls on the right hand side, a very loose, untidy break, and we have got a shot on. Just to reiterate the fact that it's 5 games to win, so Ronnie only needs to win this game. I need to win 2. And this game is really, really the most important game we've played. We've been here before. That's the shot we wanted. We know we're not going to put top right hand spin on this black because what happens? Top right hand spin, the white goes in. So instead I decided to opt for this slightly different approach, something I have not played before, and I wanted to put backspin on the ball. Now, I didn't want to put too much power on the black because I was concerned it wouldn't go in the pocket, but I was aware that I needed to come back far enough to get past the pack and get either onto this red or the other red, which you cannot currently see on screen. So I messed about with the power and the angle of the backspin and just tried something that felt right. And it wasn't a great shot, but my word, we got lucky. We had this red into the middle pocket available to us, which I gratefully took. I continued potting. A little bit of a loose brown there, but at that point we were, I think, 46 points ahead, or we had a break of 46. Ronnie O'Sullivan is not like me. He's not going to cling on to it for the rest of his life. He just lets the frame go. It's 4-4. We have 1 frame left. Whoever wins this next game is going to be crowned champion of the 6 red championship. It's us to break. You know we have a good break. We never get it wrong. We never screw it up. Even when we tweak and play with it, we still manage to get at least a half decent break. So definitely the confidence is high and the options are good. Unfortunately, I played that shot. Now, I am quite lucky because, again, as I said, we do play quite good breaks. It's a nice tight pack and only this red is on. He cannot miss. Didn't miss. So annoyingly. And it was such a good safety shot as well. Even if he had have missed that shot and left it over the pocket, I wouldn't have been able to hit it. So what a good shot there from Ronnie. Must give him credit. So Ronnie potting the brown, working his way back up to the reds. There's not a hell of a lot on, to be honest with you. But that shot, absolutely changed the game into Ronnie's favour. And now all he's got to do is keep his calm. Ronnie O'Sullivan is pretty good at that. Played an interesting shot with the black there, trying to play safe. He did leave us with a couple of options. Nothing brilliant to play though. Just this very, very tight red into the middle pocket. We got one earlier in the match, and I kind of needed this to go in order for me to really open it up. I mean, had this red gone in, we would have absolutely walked away with the game. I'm absolutely convinced of it. But unfortunately, that wasn't to be. We clipped the corner. Ronnie then came in and cleared up that red, leaving what can only be described as an easy set to finish. Selecting the blue ball. Look at the backspin he got on that. Absolutely wonderful. I was hoping that he didn't have the angle on the red into the middle pocket. But even if he didn't, he would have had the corner pocket ball here. And that's the one he took, which was absolutely weighted to perfection. And at this point, I felt like Lady Luck had definitely left us. And she had a new champion. And Ronnie O'Sullivan was looking very, very good for the win at this point. So he's got a break of 12. He's got a lead of 18. And he keeps knocking them in. But then all of a sudden, Ronnie O'Sullivan plays a very, very loose red. Something you would put money on, good money on, him definitely potting. Lady Luck, though, has a new champion. She decided that the black ball would be just enough in the way that I can't get an easy shot on that ball. I instead thought about where I could position the cue ball and the red ball in order to be safe. I knew where the safe zone was, and I spent a bit of time trying to get my positioning absolutely right. This shot was absolutely make or break. And I weighted it almost perfectly, but not quite. The first red was covered, the second red most certainly was not. Ronnie O'Sullivan potted it with absolute ease and even had the audacity to pull himself back for the pink. Outrageous. What's even more outrageous than that is that he didn't even go for the pink. He went for the green, and look at that for a shot round the table to come back on this red. Now, the difficulty he's got here is that the black is so close to the red, it's possible he wouldn't be able to play this shot. Not a problem for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. Now I'm in serious trouble. I mean, well, I'm beyond trouble. I think at this point in the game, I'd already conceded my fate and started just sort of commenting on how well we'd played throughout the entire series. Wanted to thank all of you for watching and sort of commenting and hopefully enjoying the snooker and the games that we've played. Certainly Snooker 19 needs some work. There are areas where the AI are just simply not good enough. The graphics really are not good enough. There's too much clipping. We need to be able to create our own players. We need to have a practice table. There is a lot that this game needs to fix in order to justify its price tag. I am not deluded. The more I play it, the more I see it. And yes, these are all problems. And yes, I 100% agree with anyone who says that they are problems. And I 100% agree that the price is too high. And I did mention this in my original view. But regardless, this is without doubt my favourite snooker game of all. And I think I'm going to take a break from it because I would like to see some improvements handed out. But this game here, this match here, just shows how brilliant this game can be. And I want to take my hat off to Ronnie O'Sullivan, who has categorically proved without a shadow of a doubt that he's a complete bastard. He takes the win. 6 Red World Championship runner-up. Not bad, not bad. I mean, when you consider how badly we had been playing up to this point and the number of times we could have just clinched this game and taken the victory, I think we've done rather well. I would have liked to been able to walk away with the trophy myself, but the highest break award goes to Ronnie O'Sullivan. Obviously, a bug here. You can't get a 147 break award in a 6-ball championship. I mean, that's just ridiculous. These are the things that Snooker 19 have to fix. But thank you for watching. Ronnie O'Sullivan is the champion for 2019, and hopefully we'll come back when they've fixed a few things and we'll play more. Maybe we'll be able to create our own character and progress playing that way. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you, I appreciate you, and I am so glad to have been able to share all of these game experiences with you. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, goodbye for now.